people here and I'm messing around. So, no pins, no scissors. Good afternoon. I am here at last. It has been a long time and I'm sorry it's been so long, but as you know, I have and still am busy, been busy and am still busy. So much to do, but it's all good. So I wonder what you have all been up to this week. Hello, Josie. I know. Hello, Linda. Lovely to see you. It's lovely to see you all. And Lindsay, bless her, isn't here today. She's had to pop out. Hello, Carol. So she did message me to say, if you're still busy, I can put an old Trisha time on. But I said, no, I promised I would and I will. Hello, Mary. Mary says hello to everybody too. So in between cutting and packing, I was thinking, what am I going to do today? What am I going to do today? But I had an idea because, as you know, I never get, well, I do get demo time when I'm on the craft store. But afternoon, Marion, sorry. Nice to see you too. And there's Janet. Nice to see you. And Eileen. No, Eileen, I won't get any downtime. Hello, Dorothy, because I've still got over perhaps 200 scrap and haberdashery boxes to do, with plenty already gone out. So I'm afraid I know exactly what I'm going to be doing. It would be nice to have some downtime, but let's say next week. Hello, Janet. Oh, that's lovely. It's been lovely talking to you. I haven't been able to... Hello, Sadie. I haven't been able to answer everybody's phone calls. Hello, Anne, this week, because I just had to get my head down or my hands down. Hello, Kim. No, I haven't got all my packing done. What I did do was take Wednesday as my day for getting your orders out, because I couldn't keep you waiting. Hello, Ellen. And yes, I thought we'd have a different background today. So these are the charm pack quilts, the flying geese quilts that I had on the show. I think I've still got a few left. They didn't sell out this time. But there's the Playtime 30s, which I offered you in charm packs, and Prairie Dreams. And yes, they are both beautiful. And they're nice and easy, actually. I did manage to get the Flying Geese technique, well, the main part done, where this was the no waste Flying Geese technique, where you make from one charm, oh, thank you, Sadie, where you take one charm and then 4 smaller squares. Hello, Yvonne. Oh, lovely. Going to, yes, you give it a go. How much? Well, I didn't do them as a whole kit. I just did the pattern and the charm pack. So let's see. I've still got a few of the Yes, I've still got a few of each of them left. So what I can do, the charm packs £15 for both the charm pack and the instruction pack as well. Okay. Hello, Sandy. Yes, I just thought it was time for a change. Rather than you seeing the same fabric, or it does get moved around a bit, and it will be moving around a little bit, hopefully this weekend. Not by me. I'm hoping that my lovely daughter is coming to make some, a couple of racks, so that I can move some out and move less heavy things into here. So you may not see fabric behind me in the future, because they'll be in my little shop or in my sewing room, which was a dining room, because I think I told you last week I have a leaning tower of Pisa in the sewing room, where I had put too much fabric in bolts on it and it has collapsed. So it is at 45 degrees and I keep looking in. Okay, Janet. So I as I pass it, because the loo's next door to it, and I see it every time, and I see these legs going at a 45-degree angle. I think half square triangles, you know, that's the angle it's at. but it's not good. And fortunately there's nothing underneath it, but everything's just slipped to the side, and oh, just nightmare. But there we go, one of those things. I should know better, and they were supposed to be industrial, but I don't think so. A similar one is behind me. I think, yeah, this one here. Oh no, you can't see this one, and I haven't got as much on there, so I shall know. And these other ones should take 875 kilograms of weight, and I don't think the number of bolts will exceed that, fortunately. Well, I don't think so. I hope not. Anyhow, I was saying about demos. I didn't really, because what did I do in the second one? I did the boxy pouches, didn't I? That's right. And apart from 2 of the corners, it was almost completed, but you got the idea. And I had demonstrated it on here anyway. So I had got 2 other demos ready and to actually demonstrate. But hello, Claire. I replied to your email today. Yeah, sorry. I was saying that as well, wasn't I? Yeah. Yes, the first, up until Thursday, I just couldn't answer any calls because I have deadlines, you see, and I've got to meet them. And as I say, I took Wednesday of getting your orders out because I wanted to keep you happy as well. I know you're all very patient, and I do appreciate that. Hello, Di. Yes, fine and dandy. But, you know, when I'm on the phone, which I love being on the phone because I love talking to you all, but I can't be doing things. Victoria's forgotten. She's sending me a message at the top. So she said yes. I don't know whether I told her what it was. I just asked her if she fancied a bit of DIY. And having sent the message, she'll be now thinking, oh, I forgot it was Trisha time. So where are the boys? Anyhow, yes, I got one of the demos I've got ready is the Beguiled bag, this one. So I thought I would show you how to make this today. It really is straightforward. Extendable strap as well. So you've got the D-ring and extendable one side, but then the other side, here, it goes straight into, it goes straight in here where the extendable bit is. Hello, Joanna. So there's the extendable bit. That goes directly into the bag. Oh, Carol's just ordered it. Yes, I've got plenty of these made up. And this side has got a D-ring, so there's a little tab with a D-ring. So it is quite roomy, actually. I've got a bit of bubble in there, but I love, love, love the fabric. And the only reason I think this practically sold out was because I have only got a certain amount of these bag clasps, and I can't get any more. Well, I did get some more, but they were, because I needed an extra 8, and they cost me 4 times as much as I had paid. But there we go. That's one of those things. You have to do what you have to do. I overestimated how many I had, so that's what I shall be doing. Fabric wise, I haven't. Oh no, I had some deliveries at the beginning of the week. I haven't managed to move the mode of batik that came in through to here to show you, and there's so much that I really, well, in the hot weather, it hasn't been hot this week, has it? But I should, it would have taken me all my effort to get it in here and lift it up, and as you know, I haven't had time to cut any of it to be able to show you. But there were 2 more boxes, and you'll probably say, I can't believe that you could leave boxes unopened. Well, on this occasion, I just had to. But today, because I needed to get something at the bottom of the pile, I thought, I need to shift those boxes. So I opened them, and one, I was surprised at what was in there because I've already had. So do you remember Dover? Beautiful collection, Dover. And I've had charm packs, but I didn't have the layer cakes and jelly rolls. So now they are here. Tell you what I will do. I will slip. So this is Dover. some of you may have already got this one, but I'll just show you again. It's really subtly beautiful. So it is by, afternoon Nikki, yes I'm well, thank you. This is by, oh dear, Brenda Riddle Designs, yes. So we have, it's pale grey with an aqua and white, and here they are. So I'll just flick through it fairly quickly, just so that you know what's in here. So these are on an ivory background. It looks white, but it's ivory. And then it comes in, so these are ivory, and there's a very subtle pale green. That is really quite nice. I think the lighting's a bit different in here today, but this is beautiful ivory with, this has got like a pale beige on there, and then you get that lovely green. Afternoon Jan, sorry I haven't replied to you either, but next week, if you leave it till Tuesday onwards, will be great. Thank you. And here's the pale green I was talking on the ivory background, and then you can see, look, and with the just, I don't know how she chooses such beautiful colours to work together. I think Tracy had a charm pack. I can't remember whether she's made anything with it, but there. Bank card just gave a huge sigh. Hello Pat. Oh Nikki, the bank managers all over the country I think hate to see my name. Hello Judith. Oh good, I'm glad your goodies arrived today. So that one's ivory with the pale green and the aqua as well. And then we go into the aqua base. Eileen, they are beautiful. I love it. It's so, yeah, I mean, it's pastel, but it's really subtle. But it's the most gorgeous, gorgeous colours. There we go. And almost at the end. And Lindsay will say, you didn't tell me. Hello, Catherine. Ah, yes, Joanne. It is absolutely beautiful. So you can see from the side what colours they are. And it is absolutely beautiful. So that is Dover. And then, of course, I've got jelly rolls as well. I really ought to do something with, I haven't done anything with jelly rolls for quite some time. But you can see, you've seen all the fabrics, and you can see there what is included. So ivory base, but yeah, so they are lovely. So I had I had 4 big boxes, and the other 2, which I've got one of those out, can't remember the name that they're called, but oh Judith, you probably had some as well. Dover, it is absolutely beautiful. I must admit, I mean, you know me, yes, exquisite is the word. It is, it's very, I think it would go with most decor in this day and age. Actually, it would go with mine, because I've got a limey green in the living room. I'm going off of it now because it's been there about 3 years, but I'm not one for decorating all the time. But I think this would work because of the colours within it. Nice and fresh and clean looking. So yes, that's those. And then I've got 2 other ranges, which Sophie's, oh Sophie perhaps it's called, Sophie something, which is really rather beautiful. And then another one which I opened up, which I don't think I had the range, because there are 10 bolts, and it's basically a deep blue with a peach and ivory and a red, I think, is in it, a subtle red. So it's really nice. Hi Tony. Well, I was a little bit late, I must admit. I was ready. I was ready to go at 4:10 because I've decided, and I thought I could do a bit more cutting for the haberdashery boxes as well, but I didn't get round to that. And Martin's been cutting away today really, really well, but he doesn't know how to wind them into nice little reels of whatever's going in there. So there's braids, and there's ribbon, and there's bias binding, and there's piping cord. And whereas I just use my hands and just and it's done, he cuts them and leaves them in a pile, and then I have to put them together. The squiggly lines on the Oh no, it's a decorative stitch on the machine. Have a look to see if you've got one on yours, Josie. Um, I I don't know if your machine, or if the machines have sort of 10 to 20 stitches, it may not be on there, but any that have got a few more than that, usually you'll just see the wiggly line or just part of it. Hello, Sharon. So yes, I think both Tracy and myself. Tracy was kind enough to make up the Prairie Dreams one, and I did the other one. And as we, she put a picture in there, which is absolutely beautiful. Hers is perfect, and mine is not, because obviously I was making it up as I went, and miscalculated on, which I don't often do, but I did. I miscalculated on how I was going to make the flying geese into a square, and I didn't cut my strips wide enough, hence I didn't have a square. So to make it into a square, I had to chop a bit off. And if, when you're working with triangles, you see here, you see her perfect points, beautiful, beautiful. Well, on mine, let me just see if I can show you. Yes, here, you see this blue one here. My bottom is chopped off. That would be good, actually. So rather than the points being at the edges, they are in a little bit, and that was because I had to trim off somewhere, and I couldn't trim off the top because I didn't want my point to go, but I trimmed off the bottom. Oh, who's that saying? Oh, number 25 on the Brother FS 130. There you go. Yes, that's got plenty of stitches on there. Yeah, have a look, Di. Yeah. And if you can change your width and length of stitching as well. Oh, hi, Jackie. Oh, you're nearly ready to start sewing. Fabulous. Well, you can stroke until you're ready to start sewing, and that will also give you a little bit of physio, won't it, as you stroke? Yes, that's the idea. Oh, yes, Slimming World. Slimming World. Well, we went this morning, so we've only been twice, and last week I lost 3. This week I lost 2.5. I really wanted to lose more because I know it's the right amount to lose each week, but so £5.5, I feel so much better already. Okay, I am not slim by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't feel bloated, and I just feel things fit me better. And how that can be, I mean, it's a bit in my mind, I think, but I do feel so much better. Trying to drink plenty of water as well. And yeah, so as long as I carry on, yeah, I can't lose my willpower in 2 weeks. You know, I just cannot. It is not, if I can't do something for longer than 2 weeks. So at the minute, the weeks fly by so fast, and I just think to myself, oh, thank you, Dorothy. I'm looking to those t-shirts in the wardrobe, and that dress that I've never worn, and those things that I have worn but daren't try on now, because I think I've said before, I know I will get them on, but I will feel just trussed up. I will feel claustrophobic within my clothes. Oh, thank you, Nikki. Yeah, at least it's on a downward trend, put it like that. So yeah, I know when I went to Slimming World about 5 years ago, and I lost £7. Thank you, Judith. I lost £7 in the first week. I was ecstatic, but having done that, I did expect that this time. So at 3, I was not. It was like, oh well. But I don't feel I've missed out on anything. So oh, it is. Yes, that is how I should look at it, Jan, isn't it? It's over 2 bags of sugar, yeah. Which, you know, and 2 parcels up to the 2 kilogram weight. Yeah, it is. So, yeah, that's big bags of sugar, isn't it? Yes. But we'll see. We'll see. I needed to do something, and I'm glad I'm 2 weeks into it now. And fortunately, I love my vegetables. I love my fruit. I love yogurt, natural or Muller Lights. Yeah, so it's not really a problem. I get fed up with eating, to be honest. But, oh, thank you, Patricia. Not that my mum is watching, but this morning I did order her a, and I think it was because I thought, oh, that looks delicious, a Cornish cream tea through the post, which should be arriving with her, and I know she won't be watching now, but it will be arriving with her tomorrow. So, oh, thank you, Josie. Oh, well done, 4 stone. If I lost 4 stone, I would be over the moon. And I need to. Most definitely I need to. Yeah, I probably do. I could probably, if I went by the charts that the medical profession set out there, I should probably lose 6, to be honest. Because, oh, I don't suppose they are ridiculous, but I think they are. The weight I should be for my height. I'm just short for my weight, as they say. But there we go. We won't harp on about not eating, because I do love my cake. And, hello, Jill. Oh, good, you got your parcel. Jolly good. Fed up with eating, who's that saying? Are you a mad? Yes, I am a mad woman. Yvonne, you know that by now, surely. Thank you, Dorothy. I am a mad woman, but I get fed up with, because Martin sorts the dinners out, and he'll say, what do you want for that? I don't know. I'd settle for omelette and baked beans, or I just get fed up with, fed up with thinking about what to eat differently. But if I could eat anything I liked, yes, I would have steak and ale pie like Martin does. I would have one of my favourite things. Here we are talking about food. Bakewell tart. And I love making Bakewell tart. It has to have pastry base and almond for the cake part. And I like to put the strips, I like to put the strips of pastry over the top, crisscrossed. Jam, and I like raspberry jam myself in there. Oh, I'm talking about it now, but that is one of my favourites. And I could just go to that and have a bit more and a bit more. Yes. Oh, Josie, you're only 4'10". Well, I'm 5'3" 3/4". Well, the last time I measured my height, that's what I was, and I'm sticking to it. I may have got a bit shorter, but 4 inches, 5 inches isn't that much more. But that 3/4 of an inch really means a lot, when they're working out what you should and shouldn't be. So, yeah, but I'm short compared. But at least we can wear high heels. Well, in the day. I can't remember the last time I put a pair of high heels on. Probably at Victoria's wedding 7 odd years ago. And I had to take a spare pair, a lower pair, which I wore most of the day. I think I wore the high heels for an hour. And then as soon as I could, I changed. And boy, did that feel good. But that would have been one of the advantages. Oh, yeah, you're in the... Yes. Yes. Caesar twin meals were for certain days. Yeah, well, Martin's like that. Thursday night's pie night. So when it's pie night, I just have whatever. Last night, which I love, salmon I had. Because I absolutely love salmon. I could eat salmon every day of the week. And a plate full of vegetables, absolutely fine. But, what he says is, you can't have the same thing 2 nights running. Yes, I can. It's only food. And it just keeps your body working, doesn't it? And just it gives you the energy to carry on to the next day. And that's how it is, basically. But tonight is, I can't think what tonight is. It's rice. I think he's doing chili. So forget all your worries, wear tight shoes. Yes. Yeah, that's a good one, Jackie. Yes. Yeah. Oh, Joanna could eat fish every day. Yes, I could. I certainly could. Saying that, I was going... Saturday night we used to have a takeaway of some sort. And last Saturday, we decided on fish and chips. Because, when I've been on eating, I won't say diets all the time, but a different way of eating, I would still have fish, but take all the batter off. And because where we get ours delivered from, you get the most huge piece of fish, cod, and it's really fresh and lovely. So I didn't mind that at all. We do it online and all prepared. Oh, Yvonne's got your parcel, jolly good. And on the website it comes up, we are closed until Wednesday. So a couple of days ago it opened, so great. So then we said, well, there's another one who I'd sort of fallen out with, didn't use them after, I don't know, something wasn't very good after we used them for a long time. So I've never been there, so I thought, right, okay, we need our fish and chips. So went online to do that because I know they'd started delivering. And what happened there? Go to put something in. Sorry, we can't take any more orders as we're too busy this evening. Great. So we didn't have fish and chips. So Martin had makeshift. I actually hadn't got any Slimming World meals. Can't think what I did have, or was it my last one? Oh, hello Tracy. Yes, you drive safely home. Don't look at the screen. And don't look at the screen because your beautiful quilt is hanging up here, but you'll be able to see it later. And I was just pointing out how your points are perfect and mine aren't. So everybody has loved it, are loving it. Yes, so that was basically, yeah. I can't remember now what I did have. I did have, or perhaps I'd had the last one that was in the freezer. But it's okay, it was just food. But Martin has been very busy this week, so he gets his Indian. So I don't know what I shall have. But then tomorrow, you know, Saturday, that's another day, it's an age off. As I say, I'll go with the scrambled egg and baked beans or the omelette with, because it's easy, isn't it? And I'll probably sort of fit that in between packing a few scrap boxes as well. So yes, all is good. All is good. Still got plenty of fabric around me. Yes, yes. So lots of you are watching today. And as I said, Lindsay isn't here today, but Tracy will be there watching over. But nothing untoward happens on here. We're all a lovely... Oh, there's Jill. Yummy talking about food. I know. Food, food. Yes, I had a lovely cake. Oh, yes, I shouldn't say that, should I? Mary popped round the other day, and as usual, she had done a little bit of baking, especially for me. Bless her. So I did have to have, so I still lost, but I did have to have a little taste, and it's delicious. And what I have done, I put some in the freezer though, Mary, so that, because Martin said, I can't eat all of that on my own. I said, no, I'm not going to let you. So that I can have, when I've been very good, I can have a little just to satisfy my sweet tooth. Because I know I've got a sweet tooth. And I love everything. And that's the problem, I think. I suppose I've got round having cake every day. Or fork biscuits, which we learned here, didn't we? So I'll blame it all onto Trisha time for the love of food. But I've been the same all my life. I don't think I've ever been a size 10 or a 12. I might have been a 14 at some point, but it's usually above that. But, you know, who cares? I just felt, the reason I did it, I felt my knees all the time. And I thought, I'm used to sort of getting down on my hands and knees and picking things up or whatever, and picking the children up. But I was getting to the point where I had to hoist myself on my hands, and I think, oh, my knees. So I thought, do something about it. And that is what I'm doing. So let's have a... I think it is nearly time. Martin, you're late. He did say he was going to bring me a cup of tea today at 5, but he's late. No doubt he'll be here in a minute.
Here we are.
Here we are, as I speak. Or can you pop that in the... no, pop it on that for me there, please.
Here?
Yes, please.
Why won't it slide up?
No, not if you please. Beautiful. Thank you very much. Lovely. So we have our cup of tea in the Trisha time mug. A bit hot, of course, but that's how it's supposed to be. So I will, or what we will do is I'll show you how to make the Beguiled bag because I didn't get a chance to demonstrate it. So I shall, if anybody really loves this and would like a kit. Oh yeah, I didn't put that in there. I can do them. Cheers, Janet. No alcohol involved, but cheers. I can do these kits, but I do not have any of the particular clasps. So what I would put in instead is a magnetic clasp, so there wouldn't actually be anything on the flap, unless I could get some more, but it would just be a little bit more. I will see if anybody wants. So what you actually get is in the instructions. Oh, you ordered yours on Sunday. Oh, well, you'll get one then, Carol, just as it is. So you'll get a template or two templates, one for the main bag and one for the flap. And this is the flap, and what you get for the flap is that beautiful faux leather that I used in the Wonder bag, the biggest one. So, oh, hello, Anne. Don't worry about being late. I've still got your parcel to do because there's a kit and there's somebody else. I've got the other bits ready, but who's the other person? Oh, price please. So yes, so the Beguiled kit, if you have it with magnetic clasp, it will be £18. But if they were £18.99 on the craft store, but if you want it with a silver clasp like that, it will need to be 20, because as I say, I have to buy the clasps in, and they are a lot of money. So so they're either 20 or they're 18 with a magnetic clasp. So you get the beautiful purple lining, because I like a bit of splash of colour. Faux leather for your flap, and I've already cut mine out. Your lining pieces, can you see the shape of that? And your main bag pieces, the shape there, two of those, and the H640 fusible wadding, which is lovely. It gives it a bit of shape and is still a little bit soft as well. So I've already ironed that onto the back of my fabric. I'm going to put the camera down. It'll probably freeze in a moment, but oh, it matches me, doesn't it? So when you put the H640 on the back, what I do is, and what you'll get is this a rectangle of each, and if you put your beautiful Beguiled fabric wrong sides down onto the dots, the adhesive bit, and then press from the top, and with steam is what gives it the gives it that good adhesion, so that will stay there, and you can see that's perfectly flat. And then you'll get your strip of fabric for your straps, which is my normal 4 inches wide, which we fold in half and press, open it out, fold the raw edges to the center and press, and then fold in half again. So I'll show you what we do first of all. You have seen this before, but we'll do the bag strap so that it's ready. So let me just pull this over. We haven't frozen today. Shouldn't say that, should I? But that is really good. So having folded the bag handle in half, so all my raw edges are enclosed, what I'm going to do now is open that out, and can you see how I fold it back on itself? So it was that way, if I show you like that. So we open it out and fold it back on itself. So what you've got is like a letter W, a concertina bit, and then we're just going to fold that down, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do. No, yes, no, that's fine. We'll do it this way around, and then I'm going to stitch across here with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, or perhaps a little bit more, because I can see the selve edges there. So let's move my dial up to, that's it. So, and I'll just reverse at that bit. So I've lined those edges up nicely, because I want to get a nice neat finish. It's a shame it's black because it makes it harder to see. So, and then I'm just going to trim off a little V there. Oops, that has shot straight in my tea. Well, it will sink to the bottom, won't it? I'll trim a little bit more off there as well. So now I have those edges. Trim that there. So now it looks a bit like this. So all I'm going to do is fold that back to the right side. And I do have my pokey tool, which Josie sent to me very kindly. And I'm just going to poke that up so that's nice. Should have trimmed a little bit more off there because it is quite, that's it, oh, quite thick, because the strap is lightweight canvas that I have, which is really quite nice. So that has come out really nice. So it just gives you that perfect edge. Trim a little, I can see there's a little bit of thread there, but you cannot get, if you try and tuck those ends in, you get that, you wouldn't get as perfect an edge to it as that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to stitch all the way round. So I'll start at the other end, and this end we're just going to leave exactly as we normally do. So fold it in half, raw edges in, and then I'm just going to stitch all the way down on both edges. I'm going to turn my stitch length up a bit so that it's nice and quick. So we'll go as fast as we can, because I'm sure, that's it, I'm sure you don't like to watch straight stitching just going all the way. Now what you'll notice, if you press your strap really well, it just flows through the machine. Oh, got a bit of thread there. And I'm just putting my fingers around those edges. That's it. When we get close to the other end, that's it. I will just, try not to go into the selvage bit, because that is a little bit stiffer. That's it. So what have I knocked on the floor? Or nothing. So we can just whiz right down the other end. So I put my stitch length up to about 4, and as you can see, now I'll tell you what, this machine is so fast. I haven't even got it on the fastest speed that it will go. I've actually lowered it, and yet it still goes really, really fast. I love it. That was on the selvage there. Okay, so once you've got that first end, oops, so that is my first end that we turned back. This end, I am just going to cut the selvage bit off. This end you want to cut because you need your tab. So I am going to cut, I think in the pattern it says 3 inches, and perhaps I'll do that 3 inches. So we'll pretend that's 3 inches. So I've cut myself up because I've stitched up both sides. This is now ready to have the D-ring put on. So there is my D-ring. So all I'm going to do is push that through, line up the base, and then I'm going to stitch down here just to hold that D-ring in place and as close as you can to it. So it depends on the width of the standard foot, and it's about there. So I'm just going to stitch across, and I'll stitch back again as well. So I've done on this. You could do a little box there if you wanted to, but that just holds. Oh, got all my threads trapped behind there. That just holds the D-ring in place at the top, because this is going to sit inside the top edge of the bag. So it just, as I say, it holds this in place rather than it slipping right down to the bottom. Right, so what we do now, we need to put our slider on. So that is my wrong end. So the slider end is the end that we use for the, there's my slider, the slider is what we use first of all. So the neatened end, what we're going to do is pop that over that little bar in the middle and then thread it through. So you have got it threaded. So whenever you're doing a bag with an an extender on it or a slider, always do this part first of all. So think slider first, and all I'm going to do is fold that neatened end back, and then I'm going to just make sure there's enough room, because your foot needs to, I'll take it back a little bit more there. So you've got plenty of room for the foot to just go in here. So I'm going to stitch, so this is the back there, and I'm just going to stitch, and I will stitch a rectangle this time. So let's just see if my, oh no, that won't go in there. So I'll just pull it a little bit further, just so that there's plenty of space to be able to do that, that rectangle. So from the edge, I go over to where my original, we'll do 2, where my original line of stitching is, and then I do 2 stitches down. Let's just move that out of the way, and then back across, back to the next edge of stitching. Whoops. And then I'll just go down. That's the first row, and then I just go over that first row once more. So it just gives it, I think there, I was going through, I went a little bit slower because it was going through the selvage, but that just gives you a nice neat finish there. And then I'll just trim this. Oops, got a bit of thread, so I'll trim that thread off there, trim, and here. So there we have our first bit done. Just trim that. So the first bit there is done. Then the next thing we need to do is, what do we do now? We pop our D-ring on. So although we've got the tab on there, we could do that next, but I'm going to pop the D-ring on here. So, like so. And then, having got my D-ring hanging on there, now if it's hanging the wrong way, it doesn't matter because we can always turn it around. But now I have got my, where are we? There we are. Now I've got my back to the end, and I'm going to put my end through here and over and through that guide again, over that bar. So what you can see, that is the wrong side because we've got the tab there. So I like to have my strap going over it. So when I have, yes, this was the wrong way around, but I'm just going to move it. So when I've got my slider on here, at this end I have got, whoops, that's not very good, is it? So I've got my slider here. This is the end that is going straight into the bag, and then the other end, let's do that to there. The other end is the D-ring with the tab on here. So I've got a raw edge here to go into the bag and the raw end of the handle as well. So now we've got that ready. We won't put it on yet, but I'm just going to set that aside because we've got that first bit done. So next thing we will do the flap. So flap. I am going to use a magnetic clasp. So let's see, shall I do that first? No. So what I'm going to do, I've got my bag flap, and I'm going to take my lining piece because we don't put any wadding in this either. It's just a nice flappy flap. So I'm just lining those raw edges up. Now I will use, because I've got 2 to the side of me, I'm going to use some binding clips because they, it's not good to pin through your faux leather. But I've got that all lined up nicely, and then I'm just going to stitch with a normal, just a 2.4, so I'm not going really, really small, but a reasonable length stitch, so the standard length that you would use when you switch your machine on. So, but a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I'll just reverse at the top there, and I'm just making sure it all lines up round the edge. And what you'll find is this is so easy to stitch through because of, you can see here, it's got like a knitted fabric on the back of it, and it doesn't stick to your machine at all. So it is very, very easy to sew. So I'm just keeping that lined up as I go. And as I said before, when you're going around a curve, if you just keep a slowish speed and keep the edge, the right hand edge of the foot on the edge of your fabric, it will give you a nice straight, or your curve will be absolutely spot on. Oh, actually, I wanted to, let's just reverse there. Right, let's just go back in. I like to reverse at the end there, and then go, that's it, and then we'll trim again. Okay, so we've stitched all around those edges. Now with my scissors, now you can, if you want to, clip into these. So with faux leather, I would probably clip out a little triangle. Try not to clip those stitches. So you could cut out little triangles like that. However, I much prefer, or pinking shears, I'm just going to take my, and only on the curves, but I'm going to take my seam allowance down to about 1/8 of an inch. So again, get in there, just cut that around. So as I say, it's only on the curves, and I find this, I'll come up here a little bit more because that curve is still there. So around to about 1/8 of an inch, but I've left the normal seam allowance there. And then we can turn this to the right side, and you'll find, without pressing, it still gives you a lovely lovely curve to your work there. So let's move that out of the way. If you want to press, what I would do, I would use a damp cloth, and I would just put it on a lowish heat on the back, so on your lining fabric. But I'm not actually going to press, I'm just going to fold that over and make sure I get that fabric right onto the edge. And then I'm just going to top stitch around the edge. Now again, don't use, I'm going to actually increase that to about 2.8 or 3. You don't want to use a very small stitch because it will act as if it's perforating your fabric, your faux leather. So I'm doing exactly the same as I did before, but I'm just holding it, I'm just pushing that as I go, so that I've got, might have the most minimal amount of purple showing just to the side, but I don't think it does, which can look quite nice. But I didn't put any extra size onto the lining piece to do that. But that's it. So I'm just watching, I'm not lifting the presser foot to go around that curve, but I'm just going nice and slowly and just pushing that under here, just so that it's right at the edge, and just to get a nice continuous line of stitching. So if your needle can stay down in the fabric, or if you stop stitching and you need to use the flywheel, just always towards you, never away from you, and just make sure the needle is down in your fabric when you stop, so that when you start again, it's just continuing on with your stitch, as opposed to jumping, so that you get a funny, a bit crooked stitch, which you don't want when it's on the flap. Okay, so we're just going up that last side and trim. So yeah, so that's not too bad there, if you can see that stitching there, but that's quite nice and straight along there. Now what I would also do, but not quite yet, we're going to put our, I was going to say, we'd stitch along the top just to keep that straight edge, keep that fabric together so it doesn't slip when we pop it into the bag. So what I'm going to do now is find a central position for the bag the magnetic clasp. If you're using the actual bag clasp, I'm just going to trim that bit off there. If you're using the actual bag clasp, you don't need to do anything now. That is just done because you can put the clasp on afterwards, because the clasp in the kit has got a back to it where you put little screws through. So you just use your clasp to make an oval marking, cut it out through both layers, and then slot it through and screw your backing onto through the back here, so it goes through the lining and holds it in place. But as I say, as I'm using, I'm just going to line that up in half, and then we will put a pin. So I'm going to put a pin, but not through, so here. So I'm just putting it through the lining fabric at the halfway point. And then I am going to get my clasp here. So we've got the washer, 2 washers, and the clasp itself. And I like the outy bit to go on the bag flap, and I like this part to go on the main bag itself. So what I'm going to do, I haven't put my pin in the middle. I'm just going to use, I won't use that. I'll use the washer just to line that. I'm going to have it up a little bit from the bottom there. So I'm just going to make 2 little marks. I'll put it in the centre, and I'm just going to make 2 little marks, if my pen's working. Yep, so I made 2 little marks there. And what we're going to do is use the seam ripper if I had it there, but I haven't. So I'm just going to cut just a little bit into, oh I know, I have got a seam ripper, haven't I, in here. This is quite nice to have this. So seam ripper to hand, and very carefully, because you don't want to slit it too much, but I just put my hand in the flap, and where my markings are, I'm just going to pop the seam ripper in, and I'm holding it underneath, and I've got my finger there just so that I can feel the tiniest of slits, because you can always slit a little bit more, but you can't fix it. So I've slit there. Now the other thing, because it's on just a piece of lining, I like to put a bit of wadding behind it. So I have a little bit of wadding here. So this just makes it, so I've just got a little bit of thin wadding. You could put interfacing, could put another piece of fabric, but I'm just going to make some little slits in here as well. So about the same distance apart. And then I am going to take the magnetic clasp itself, and I'm going to pop the legs through those slits that I made and push them through, so we can feel here. Where are my slits there? There's one, and where's the other one? There. Didn't cut that very well, did I? But, oh, let's just have a look again. See where those are, there and there. Actually, let's just do that a little bit more, because I obviously didn't cut that too much. Erring on the side of caution. Oh, dropping it now. So, leg, oops, leg in there, and just push, and there. So now we've got those through. Then I would put my little piece of wadding on there as well. Just helps to, lost my washer now. Just helps, here it is. Just helps to strengthen that piece of fabric. Then you pop your washer on the top, and then you can put the legs one over each other, but I like to splay them out just so that that's nice and flat and smooth. So that is my magnetic clasp in place. So for those of you that have never used one, it is really quite easy. And now I'm just going to, as I said, I'm just going to stitch across this top here. Just take that little bit off, stitching off there. So I'm just going to do a long, so I'll do a long stitch across here, and just to hold about 1/8 of an inch from the edge, and I'm just making sure this lining fabric feels smooth, and it's just holding all the layers together before it goes into the bag. It's another one of those belt and braces things, so That is going to be hidden, that stitching along there, but it keeps it together for when it goes into the top of the bag. There's nothing worse than stitching all the way around the top and then you find that this fabric slipped and you've got a hole. So we're going to set that aside for the moment, and then we're going to go with our main pieces. So the first thing we're going to do is to make these darts. So put it here. All we do is line them up with that bottom edge, and you can see, well, you can't see very well there, but right sides together, and I'm just going to stitch. So I'm going back down to my normal stitch length, and we'll just stitch 1/4 inch seam allowance, reverse at the bottom, just so that we keep that nice, and then just go straight. So it will look as if with a dart, it will look as if it's going too far up, but you want to have a continuous line. Can you see all the way to there? And then what I do when I get to the top, I'll show you on this one as well. So we're going to do the same again, just join those two up. I reverse back down, but I go in that seam allowance. So it's like when you're doing a dart in a dress. I like to secure it, so we'll reverse at the bottom, and I'll go all the way up there, carrying on straight, and right to the edge. But then I'm going to reverse into that seam allowance. That's just, I'll show you then. So I've got a couple of parallel lines. Can you see there? So I have stitched there. So I've come down to the point, and then I've gone up in that seam allowance. And then that's what gives the shape to your bag. It's hard to see because of the fabric, but it gives a little bit of shape at the bottom, so it's nice and full. So again, move those two together, line up that bottom edge. I put my finger in the top of the pleat or the dart, and I just reverse at the beginning, and then straight up there, and then back down into the seam allowance. Okay, and then the same with the other side too. So you've got 4 of these. Whoops, you should pin that really so that it is in line, because the wadding just fluffs it up a little bit. So I'm just making sure those line up straight up the top there, and then reverse into your seam allowance. So again, you've got that shape in the bottom of your bag. You can see there. Looks like a bra actually. Or it looks like a little top. You can't see it that way. Yeah, sort of, yes. Okay. So while I'm doing that, I will do exactly the same with my lining pieces. So my lining pieces have got those cutouts as well. So while I'm in for the mood of doing the darts, I will do exactly the same again, and I'm keeping in my black thread. You won't see that with a, there we are, with a purple lining. So there's one, and the second one there. So just line those up nicely together, and you see that's good to pin it because that came out of line. Whoops. Let's just, there we go. Right, hold that together nicely, and then it won't go out of line. And as I said again, all the way up in a straight line and back down. There we are. And then number 3 coming up. See, I've overcut that a little bit, but that's okay. That won't show or do anything to the bag itself because this is the lining. Okay, and reverse. That's the only thing with this machine. The reverse is so slow. I like it to whiz. Okay, and the last one, line that up under the machine. Reverse at the beginning and reverse into the seam allowance. Okay, So there you can probably see that better. That's got shape in the lining as well. So next thing, this is going to come together so quickly. We just turn those that way, because what we're going to do now is we're going to put both of these pieces right sides together. So our outers right sides together, and I'll put some pins in here. I'll put a binding clip at the top, and then what we need to do is line up where these darts are. We just line those up. We can push one way and one the other. So I could put a dart there, a binding clip there, and then the same here, and push one dart one way and one the other. There we go. And then that will just line up. So I'm going to stitch all the way around this edge. Just take that off, and I'll reverse at the beginning there, and then carry on around. So again, just a normal 2.4, 2.5, 2.6, just the standard stitch length, absolutely fine. And make sure it went off a little bit there. So I'll just, lift that up. Just lifting the foot up, there we are. So I'm just carrying on. I went over that same little area twice, because I could see my seam allowance went in a little bit. I wasn't concentrating there. And then just line that up too. And straight up to the top. When we get to the top, yeah, just reverse to hold that and cut. So there, we're just going to fold that, or open that out to the right side. And there we have our shape. So you can see from freeze. Oh, we're back again quite quickly. Oh, and there's, can you see in my tea? Oops. Oh, I don't know, you can't see. I've got a little floaty bit of material. There is my material. How nice is that? Put that down on that piece of paper. So sorry about the freezing there, but I think we're back. Back again. Right, yes, so there is our outer bag. You can see from the side, got quite some depth and quite a bit of room in there. So with your lining, if you wanted, I haven't put an internal zip pocket or anything like that in this one, but if you wanted to, you could always put yourself an internal zip, like I have done on lots of other bags, in the normal technique. So we're going to do exactly the same, or almost exactly the same, with our lining pieces. Right sides together, and I'll just line that top and pop a pin in there. Then we'll go to where the darts are, and again we will line those darts up, push them one way and one the other, and there's a pin there. So pin that one, and then also the other dart. So line those up, one way and one the other. A pin there, and then, gosh, that cutting around there, not that it's going to notice, it's pretty awful. I must have been doing it in a rush. Okay, we'll put a pin up there. Now the only thing I'm going to do differently is between these two darts, so not quite on the darts, but where there's that straight edge, I'm going to leave a gap. So again, I'm just going to onto here, so I might just go down a stitch length there, because we're just with fabric. I just hold those layers together and over that first bit. So I'll come about an inch or so, just so that I'm actually on the straight. So this bit we're going to turn in, tuck in later. So I'm just going to make sure I have purely got a straight edge there, because it's so much easier to tuck in a straight edge. And again, I'm just keeping those layers together and just stitching all the way up to the top. And then we will reverse that bit. there's our lining ready. So we're going to leave that with the wrong sides on the outside because we're going to do the one inside the other. But the first thing I'm going to do is pop our handle. Oh no, I won't. I will put let's put our flap. So we want our flap to go, both sides, back and front, are exactly the same. So it doesn't really matter which side you put it, but you want it to be central. So we'll look at where you can measure, but just see where the side seams are. And I know I've got 1/2 inch or so there and half there. So with that in place, I'm going to get my binding clip again and just hold that, and similarly here. Now I know there we are. I know we stitched along the top here already, but I am going to, you know me, I'm trying to be a bit belt and braces. I want to come over a little bit further. That's better. But I'm now actually just going to stitch through that one layer and stitch this flap to the top as well, rather than, I'm just going to take that off, rather than try. So if you take your accessory tray, just so that you can do, and I'm going to stitch within this seam allowance, and so where I'd already stitched, but I'm going to just make sure so that none of this stitching will show, but I'm just making sure that is held to my flap, and it means that I don't have to have any pins or binding clips in the way when I come to put the outer bag inside the lining. So you see, so that is all now nicely attached to the back, but it's much easier to have that attached before you do anything else. So the next thing I do is to get my bag handle that we've already made. So I'm going to line up, just make sure that your slider is on the, well, you want that facing down. So slider facing down. So I'm going to put the raw edge at that seam, and I'm going to put a pin in there because I want this to be in place. Oh, that's a thick pin. I don't know why I have a thick pin. Right, that's better. So we'll put 2 pins in here. These are my favourite, the flower head, and that's better. So by putting 2 pins, it means it holds that straight. If you put one in the middle, it can shoot off at an angle. So then what I do, can you see how this is coming underneath the bag? So if it's coming underneath, it means then you can't, hopefully, twist it. So let's just make sure that is, oh, have I twisted already? Let me just see what has happened here. Have I twisted it? I think I have twisted it. Let's just see. Sort this out. So when that's it. I will have to just twist this here. You can. So I fed it into my slider wrongly. Okay. So I'm just twisting that over because I could see that was twisted in there. That's it. So can you see now that is straight? So there is my end bit with the D-ring, and that's now straight, and it wasn't. So now my D-ring is up the wrong way. So what we're going to do is do this again. Let's get back a little bit, it's a bit too close. So slider down against the bag. So I'm going to put the halfway across there. So it's halfway across the seam. And then again, as I say, pop a pin in there and a pin in the other side. And then I'm going to take the bag handle underneath the bag, and so it comes up the other side, and then I know that this the tab with the D-ring on is going to go halfway across the seam, and that way I'm going to put 2 pins in here again, one in that side and one in this side, just to hold that perfectly straight. Okay, so I've got that one in place. So under here you can see my strap and my slider's facing up, because we want it to face, when it's actually out, you want that to face upwards like that. So we'll pop that down. So we've got nearly everything in place now. So all we need to do is pop this into our lining. So get those handles right into. Now if you want to make sure they're totally out of the way, what you can do is drop the handle into and coming out of the gap in the bottom of the bag. So let's just, there it is. So I pull the handle out and then it is not going to be in the way. So I'm tucking the flap into the bag and the flap down there. Okay, so I've got bag inside the lining. Tuck that down a little bit, and then we're going to line up the side of the lining. So I just look at the seam on the inside and the seam lining, and then I'll just take one of those pins out and replace it through the handle, and then move to the other side and do exactly the same. So the side seam of the lining halfway across, so it lines up with the seam inside, and again I'll just take one pin out and replace it through all the layers, so that's nicely. And then when you stretch it like that, it all fits together. So again, so this side that I'm here has got the flap, so I would put, if I got a few more binding clips, all right, I'll put one there and one there just to keep that nicely lined up. And then this side we'll put some pins, so just push that down. So if you just put your hands into the bag and then line those edges up, so a pin in there, and this will all fit just beautifully, because they were all, if you cut them all at the same time, or if you cut through your outer layers and your lining fabric at the same time, it will be exactly the same. So I've got pins around here. Let's just have a, whoops, that's my arm, swig of tea. Oh, that's good. Now I'm just going to stitch around the top edge. So just bring that over there. Start wherever you like. 1/2 inch seam allowance or the width of your foot. It just means your bag will be slightly smaller, but I don't think you'd even notice. So I'm coming up to the handle part now. So what I would do here, it's holding that in place fairly nicely, because we're just into the handle now, the strap for that extra bit of, that's it, let's just pull that a little bit there. I've just got a little extra bit of fabric I can see. I'm just smoothing that in until we get back to where we first started. So I've just stitched a little bit further over that first where we started, and I'll just trim those threads, and or trim these while we're at it, and at the bottom there. So now we have our strap coming out of the bottom of the bag anyway, so you can just scrunch the bag up and just pull that through. Now you notice I haven't put the second part of my clasp in yet, so at this point don't close the gap in the bottom of the seam. I just find this is the easiest way to do it. Gauge it after you've stitched it all together. That means you're never going to have it in the wrong place. Let's go thread there. Because a lot of patterns will say mark this point as where the second piece the magnetic clasp goes, but I would rather just see. So this hole here, leave that open because that's what we're going to go through to first of all find out where the second part needs to go. Okay, so I'm just pushing the lining into the base of the bag and pushing that all the way around. Well, you can't see me there. I'm just pushing that down. Make sure our handles are firmly secured and haven't slipped. And if we push the lining in, just move that up a little bit. If we push the lining in, what we can then do, as if it were closed, we can bring that flap down. So just hold on to the handle, the strap. Just hold the handle up like there, as if the bag was going to be closed, and then that just sits nicely over the top, and then we can work out, I can see, or I can feel my clasp is here, so I'm just going to pop that down. And I'm going to make a mark as to where that should be. So first of all, I'm just going to turn that to me so that I can see that that is nicely central. Just going to move that slightly, and then I just lift that where the magnetic clasp is, and I'm just going to put a pin directly. I don't know if you can see that green pin there. That's where my magnetic clasp is going to go. So you can measure that distance just to make sure that it is exactly in half. But we know it's at that height across the bag. So let's just see. The bag is about 11, 5.5. So it could actually do, just feeling the side there and the side there, it could actually do with being, let's just make sure, no, that's it, 5.5. So it could do with being there. So it's a little bit further across than I put it, but I know now that that is the centre. So again, you can, it's hard to see, isn't it? You could put your washer over the top there and make your marks, or as I'm going to do, now this is what I do, I put my hand into the lining and then I put my hand in the gap so that I can feel, you see, I'm feeling where this is, and rather than make a mark, I'm just going to put my, I can feel my finger under here. I think I've magnetised my, magnetised the seam ripper here. So I'll hold on to the magnet over that pin, and then I'm just going to put the seam ripper through and make a little hole, and similarly on the other side as well, and then just do a little slit, take that away. I'm keeping my finger there so that I can see exactly where everything, so that I can see exactly where, oh that's good, I can't see exactly where, dum-de-dum-de-dum. The fabric is so, can't even see. So if you make a mistake and you cut somewhere, you can't actually see where you've cut. Gosh, that is unbelievable. Oh, have I cut there? Yes, I've cut there. I can see. All right. So I've cut there. So I must have cut, yeah. So I've got the space now. So I've managed to push that through to the reverse. Now, because I've got wadding here already, I'm not going to put any more wadding. So I'm just going to put the washer straight on and just splay those legs. So that's nicely protected. So there is my second part of my clasp, which that will fit over there. All I need to do now is close the gap in the lining. So I'll just put my finger in just to poke that out there, and then I'm just holding this apart so that I can just push those pieces in, tuck the raw edges in, and then finger press along there, and then I can do similarly along here. So I've got just a little bit more than 1/4 inch I can see there, but I'm just making sure that lines up with where the seam started, and then if I grab hold of the seams, and then I can just line those up nicely together. But you can see how that goes together much more easily than if it was on a curved edge. And then, as I say, all I'm going to do is just, you could press this if you wanted to, but I'm just making sure those line up really, really well. So, and here I would probably change to a purple thread, but I'm not going to. So I'm just going to stitch quite close to the edge, and just to close that seam where the gap is. So let's just keep that here, and I'm going to just stitch on the spot. No, I'm not, because it's not going to. So yeah, I'm just stitching fairly close to the edge. As I have got black thread in, I don't want it to show too much. So by stitching close to the edge, it should hopefully blend into the rest of the bag, and then that's it. Just stitched on the spot. We'll just clip those threads off there, and then at the other end too, and then hopefully just give that a pull. Yeah, so that, because it's very close to the edge, you can't see that too badly. So now I'm just going to pop that into my bag like so. I'm just pushing the lining right down. I've got my hand in there, pushing it right down to the bottom, and then all that's left to do is to top stitch all the way around. So I would normally give that a nice press around this top edge. Be careful near the flap where the faux leather is. I'm just going to pop a few pins in along here, just to keep that close to the edge before we stitch. There's a little thread coming out there, and I think it'd be worth just completely finishing it off, because if I don't, what happens is that it just stays as it is. So, and then coming around here, what I'll do, because I can't put any bits, so here is where the faux leather meets. What I will do then, when it's over my machine, I might start there first of all, I will pull on the underside. I'm going to pull that lining down. So let's put that under. And again, I'm just going to increase my stitch length to just over 3. Let's just bring that in here a little bit closer. That's it. So we will start just to the side of the where the handle is, just to the side of the flap, and I'm going to use a marker on my foot to make sure I have the, but I've got my other hand underneath, and I'm just pushing that lining fabric down, because I want to have a nice neat edge around where the flap is. So, and because it's going to be black, I'm just pushing that down and then pulling this bottom one away. I really want this to be nice on the inside as well. So, as I say again, I'm just pushing that away and just stitching along here. And then hopefully on the inside of the bag, we won't have any. So I'm just pulling that back and just, it's a bit of thread, just pushing that lining down so that I don't get any little pleats in there. So that's it. This can sometimes be the worst bit, the top stitching, but it's just, so again, we come just to here. So where the bag handle goes in, just make sure the lining is really tucked down there as well. So I'm still staying at that, about 1/8 of an inch from the top. Go slowly over this, this part here where your bag handle is, and just push that lining down. And and straight across there. Take that pin out. Okay, and I'm just pushing the edge of the top edge and the lining underneath. Oh, that's the magnetic clasp. And because we don't want the lining poking above the edge of the fabric, so we are nearly there. Just that the magnetic clasp is sticking to everything metal, but we're nearly round to this side handle, and we'll just go across there. So again, I can see the lining, so I'm tucking that down so that it is right on the edge. And here we go. So this part here, just tuck that down and make sure we come nicely across the handle. As I say, slowly if you want, because it is a thick part. That's it. And there's a bit of thread, and then just join up with where you started stitching, which was there. Okay, so bag handle out of the way. Let's get a little bit of thread just there, probably a little bit underneath. Let's see how that looks here. So we have that little bit, and that's about it. So let's just have a look. Oh yes, that's not, well, it's not that straight, but see that straight. I've gone a little bit lower here, but that's quite nice and straight and no ripples, which is how we want it to be. And let's just make sure the so I'll put this out here. Take this back just a little bit. Oh no, a big bit even. Okay, Jackie, thank you. Right, so let's just make sure, hopefully it does, the magnetic clasp fits. Ah, yes, there we go. So, okay, there's no bag thing on there. Let's see. Oh yes, I have got that right. Jolly good. There we go. So that is our, oh, you're welcome, Carol. I know I've probably gone over some things that other people may know, but there's always some people that have never done it before. But that is the whole way through. So yeah, do you know, I just love this fabric. Libs Elliott has been about for a little while, and I've never bought any of her particular range because I've always thought, oh, I don't know, it's all right, but I didn't dare. But this in particular, you see, can you see along the top there? Stitching along the top, that's, yeah, thank you, Irene. It is, and you know, such an easy make. So if you've got, with this particular pattern, oh, thank you, Jan. Yes, I've got a Beguiled bag waiting for you. Thank you, Jill. That's probably Tracy. Yeah, it is super fabric. Oh, thank you, Di. So if you wanted to do, oh, you missed Sunday shows, Joanna, did you? Oh, never mind. You can always watch it on catch up. You could put an applique on the front here. Oh, you're welcome, Ellen. Oh, thank you, Marion. Have a good weekend, everybody. Thank you, Jackie. But yeah, so you could, I mean, you could have the flap in exactly the same fabric. But if you imagine doing this in denim, and say all of it in denim, and then putting, personalise it if you like, or initial, or a big flower, or an applique. You know, there's so much you can do. The other thing which I keep thinking about is, thank you, Janet, to put a bit of piping around the edge here, because I think that would be nice. So you could have a bag just in one fabric, but just have to have some contrast piping, or the same wood piping would be very, very elegant. But yeah, so that is as easy as it is. Now, I doubt if I'd have got that made. Is the pattern on the website? Yes, the pattern is on the website. Yes. Victoria kindly did that for me a couple of days ago. So yes, the pattern's on the website, www.sototallytrisha.net. Along the beach bag is on there, the Zoe bag, and what was the other one? Oh, the Catherine in cork. So that's on there. So she put them all on. But yeah, so this is the newest. I don't know whether the Catherine one, the original Catherine, is on there probably as well. But and little different. So don't buy both if you've already got one. Just a bit of fabric there. Yeah. So yeah, it is nice and neat. And I mean, by all means, if you hello Vera. Oh, you'll watch it back as you're on now. Never mind. Yeah, you'll be able to see all of it because I've gone from start to finish. Apart from I had got the fabrics cut out, but you'll be able to get the gist of how you put this all together, and you'll give it a go yourself, and you'll say that is so easy, because it is. Okay, my lovelies, it has been absolutely lovely to get back to see you, because I have missed. All I've been is cutting, as you know, and packing. But there we go. And this is the first time I've touched my machine since Sunday. So it's a good job using a sewing machine. It's like riding a bike. Oh, bye for now, Di. Yeah, so it all came back to me just like that, flooding back. So what I will say, have a lovely weekend, all of you. Let's hope the weather stays reasonable. We've had a bit of sun later on. Oh, good, Claire. Well, I never on the TV do start to finish, do I? Just, it doesn't happen. But there we go, start to finish. And as I say, the pattern's there for you on the website, should you want it. Okay, so thank you so much. Next week, oh, thank you, Sam. Your parcel's gone, Sam. Now, I took it yesterday, but I think he only processed it this morning, which is really naughty of keeping it over from one day to the next, but it is on its way to you. Or two. It's in 2 parcels, that's right. What was I going to say? Next week, I have to choose, I think I'll have 2 winners because I found another special that I've got for naming the 3 finalists. Okay, Sam. 3 finalists plus the winner. I have a list of names and I will do that next Wednesday. So I will see you next Wednesday. That is the 30th of June. Oh, lovely Barbara. And then Thrifty Thursday on the Thursday, the 1st of July. I don't give myself a break, do I? But just saying quickly about Thrifty Thursday, I was going to do it weekly, but I've noticed, Janet says, have a lovely weekend, and Josie, you're welcome. So I will be doing it fortnightly, just to keep us all sane. But thanks for joining me today. Take care, all of you, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.